Alright, Dave, hold up there.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave, hold up. So, you'll be in second in line behind Henry's black one. So that's their 3. We're going to be our 3. And then Jeremy's going to be behind Dave's orange one there.
I got you, Kai.
Perfect. We'll start making our way on up, and I'll make sure that Chris lets the Bronco staff know that we are going to be starting to make our way area. Now, for us, we have to keep it a no-wake policy now. Granted, the moisture content in the ground is going to be quite nice, but we do want to keep the speeds down to a certain degree. So, that being said, like no wake with the boat, we'll keep it right about 10 miles an hour in that range.
Sorry.
10 miles an hour.
Alright folks, we're just making our way in front of the Bronco guys here on the left-hand side. We do have a trail that's going to kind of cut the in front of them. Now this is a small little feeder route that we use to try and get the feet wet in some of the attributes out here at Mount Potosi, and also some of the areas that we want to be able to kind of accentuate a few differences in the driving line itself. Now, as Chris was talking about before, with that little bit later entry, that little bit later turn-in, this is exactly what we're kind of explaining to you folks that we will be seeing at this time, which will be a little bit later turn. We're going to be using more articulation at the top part of the peak on the driver hand side eventually to get up and over around an obstacle, which will be a tree and some rocks on the right-hand side. We do want to protect our tires as much as we can. Like I was explaining before, rock versus rubber, rock will always win. But we can try to get that to where we can roll our tires around a specific obstacle. Now, one thing that I like about what you're doing there, Dave, is you're keeping a little bit of distance from the rear bumper. Not only can you see where the vehicle in front of you is going to be going, but you can see the ground in front of you to a certain degree. So you're going to be able to kind of have an idea of where to place the vehicle versus maybe only a foot or 2 feet behind that vehicle in front of you and have no idea where to drive because you're just driving tracks in the snow for that vehicle. That does help out in certain areas, but just remember, like what you guys are doing now, you're able to use that as a mentality of going into your obstacle without fear of only seeing that bumper. Now, one thing that we're going to be able to notice out there, too, in driving, is that it's not always about the speed of how you get up and over an obstacle, right? Because you're just going to get wheel spin. It's going to be terrible for the person behind you. We also have a buddy system that I'll explain to you. So, in this case, Henry kind of stopped right now to make sure that you have visual of us will do. And then, Dave, the same thing is going to be for you with Jeremy behind you. So, at this point, we're not going to leave anyone behind, in essence. That way, we'll always be able to kind of have someone in that rearview mirror. Now, once we get starting to drive into the class, it's going to be a different sport. But wherever there's another fork in the trail to Y, either going left or right, we'll always be able to kind of stop and make sure that that vehicle can now see where the next vehicle is going to be going, and then it's going to be leapfrogging at that point.
The tires
Loading the vehicle at these slow applications.
You can tell what?
the tires are flatter.
But what's going to be helpful for our throttle positioning and our brake positioning
Well,
as
it
we
just
get to
kind
some of the next obstacles being on the slower side.
You can kind of feel the push. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When we came in this morning, there was one of those latrines, and I thought, hey, that looks like an old scout latrine. That's what they got at Sky Mall, you know?
Yeah.
Now, eventually we'll be making a tight 120-degree left-hand turn. But we're doing pretty good here, folks. We'll keep it rolling.
Amphitheater over here. This would be a cool little Boy Scout camp.
Well, it was.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
This would
yeah.
kind of cool to
Check
go
out
to
the-
as
Well, if we have that forklift show making that tight wide to the left-hand side, we'll go ahead and continue on. Now, this trail that we'll be going on is going to be exclusive for Raptor. I call this trail Raptor Ridge. Now, it has its start, the initial start, like the trail that we're on, similar to one of the Bronco trails, but once we kind of get past that their intro onto their trail, it's exclusive for us only. Eventually, I'll be walking on the trail the entire way through, helping you folks out and spotting you folks through some of the areas. Once we get to the start of the trail, you hop on out. Granted, it's not very windy today, maybe just a little bit of trees moving every once in a while, but eventually we'll put the windows down. I'll be able to talk to you folks outside of the vehicle and coach you and spot you through some of the obstacles. Now, we talked a lot about techniques already this morning, how in a lot of this case in rock crawling and so forth, a lot of that's going to be with vehicle and old school design, old school intel. Four-wheel drive low, first gear. So in this case, now we got all six of us all together. What I'll do at this time, once we get, I see Jeremy in the back there, okay, no worries. Once we do this there, folks, we'll go ahead, keep our foot on the brake. Let's put our vehicles in. When we go into neutral, look at our goat mode selector. Switch the goat mode dial to your right all the way. That'll actually signify rock crawl. When it signifies rock crawl on the bottom, that's when we know that that's the mode that we want to be in at this time. What we'll notice when we go in the rock crawl is that there will be a forward drive shift in progress by looking at our driver display. There's also going to be some off-roading use and manual use and any of that sort. When we look at our hero switches, we're going to notice that our rear differential locker has been engaged and also our stay bar has been disconnected. Now, there's going to be some tight turns that we do want to do at first, so let's go ahead and disengage our rear electronic locking differential. So go ahead and hit that third hero switch to see that yellow light go back to being black. The stay bar can still be disconnected at that time, so that's all right. We just want to have forward drive low. We also want to have the stay bar disconnected and ourselves in rock crawl. If we want to do forward drive low by just hitting that default with the button for our transfer case, that also works out too, but rock crawl allows that to be tied directly with that differential locking, or that not only the differential locker, but for the forward low in the transfer case versus having it for high like we had from before. Alright guys, then we'll go ahead and put our vehicles back in the drive. We'll start making our way on up. Now what we're going to notice in here is the fact that now that we're in forward drive low, we're going to hear that the first gear is going to be relatively short, low, very high pitched. That's going to be, in essence, all that torque kind of helping pull us forward, move us forward at that time frame. Now, like I was explaining before with pedal modulation, the first obstacle that we got is a tight left turn into a tight right turn. At the same time, there's going to be some rock to try and mold ourselves up and over. The last thing you want to do is try to just accelerate as hard as you can and just hit that thing with as much wheel speed and as speed as possible. That's when things get really hairy because I'm standing on the unfortunate outside of the turn. So if you shoot a rock at my ankles, I don't do this. But it has happened before. So this is what we're going to notice and figure out how that throttle feels, how that brake pedal feels. We're going to go slow
Like a Velcro.
as necessary, as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. With this being already low crawling, we're already your default when we're going slow. How we're gonna have the three of us all together is eventually Henry's vehicle gonna be up near a tree, and then we'll all eventually park behind Henry's vehicle. Three of us get all staged up again for the next obstacle, and so on down the line.
You feel like driving between, like after lunch over to the valley or something? You could. I mean, you don't have to, but, or from the valley back or something. I mean, if you're so inclined. Or you can be my passenger princess.
I think I'm gonna be a passenger princess. I do appreciate it. Oh, it seems like this one does the same thing.
Well, one of them does.
Water.
I'll see him over there. Going back real fast. Kind of where I hang out.
So then we just take that little stick home and plug it into our computer and it's got the thing on it.
Supposedly. Sort of looks like a trail version, maybe, of
So folks, what we have up here is a little bit of saturated ground. So we may have to turn a rear differential locker on at some point, but it's actually quite tacky material, tacky dirt. So a lot of this is going to be modulation. Take your time. All right, we'll see what we can do.
what are those cameras?
I don't know.
They have a camera, just a road camera, basically. You know, you put on the car, and when you're in motion, it records.
When you're
If,
running it.
like, if you get into an accident, it shows you. You have a video of it. I'll think about it. So, be wants you to kind of run through it, but keep speed up so you can go up the hill. That's the way I took that.
Maybe.
So he's now put on front and rear locks.
Can you hear him just talking?
Yeah. Reverse is free.
Did he just say that? Reverse is free.
Or Henry's having a little trouble. I think he's an auto dealer.
Which one is he?
Asian. Shorter Asians. The one that's closest to you, sitting down there. He acted like he had, he bought several Raptors to sell, probably.
Probably, but
I mean, he was showing that new video like I mean, I didn't have to adjust hardly any.
it's just pulling.
Yeah.
Is he directing the guy in front of us?
Not yet.
Alright, you guys make my way back down here.
I should just send it.
If you hit his ankles with rocks, he's gonna be pissed.
He would be happy in the same pants he got this day.
Problem is now everybody's been through there and it's your last. It's really gonna be slippery when wet. Seems like the further out you could go before you started turning. But he's coming back. You're probably supposed to wait on him.
That's fine.
A
Yep.
little bit more time. Stop right there. Let's be proactive on this.
All right.
Fix that front and rear
All right.
So, as I come on forward, keep turn, pull, pull. Go ahead and disengage that front bumper. Keep the rear.
Keep the rear. You're good to go.
I told you I was sending you.
Why did he go?
There we go. Once you get behind, we'll go ahead and have you disengage that rear differential locker.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect.
Making that turbo
Yeah, I mean,
suck up that air there.
that's right.
Hey, that's all right.
Gotta go when you gotta go.
Not that I bladder.
That's mine for sure. Yes, I'm gonna suck up that air. That's what this fucking thing is. Hell yeah. By the way, that's what you're sort of doing today.
So,
Not gonna lie to you folks, that was the first time I've used front and rear differential locker for that one. Usually for zero lockers, and it actually just propels up just fine in four-wheel drive flow.
but it's
They're gonna notice the two track on its way on down.
moist.
A little moist.
Did you get close to something over there on your side?
He was gonna have me stop, back up, and jump. Kind of back up and get a run at it, I think. What was that? Is the heated steering wheel on?
No.
The next, we have a left-hand turn that's gonna be a little bit off camber, meaning that we're gonna have the right side tires a little bit lower than the left. Now, I can spot you folks through this, so it'll be just fine. But the next obstacle after that's going to be a rock step up into like a little bit of a waterfall feature on the way down. So as we're taking our time on down, you can see where the tire tracks have been previously. That's a really good way of seeing what's been working. So go ahead and start coming on down there, Henry. You're going to have to ride some brakes for a little bit.
Right.
Brake. These tires are a little more worn than ours.
So Dave, if you want to, you can go ahead and continue. Just keep it a little bit more to that driver hand side. You will slide off some of the rocks near the very top. You can see where that two track is kind of putting you at that time, right? You're going to have some rocks that are going to be on that driver hand side that you do want to have some, a little bit of traction and come on down at the very base of that. And then Jeremy, you're going to be able to kind of see what Dave is doing at this driving line. And in essence, mimic it. You can see a lot of that additional dirt being pushed on from that other vehicles driving over it with the mud.
at me a little higher.
Well, he's gonna be. He's still sitting
I
there.
can't do it, that's why I said.
So Dave, I'll get him down this rock waterfall, and then I'll have you keep it right there, so we do have a little bit of leeway on the entry up and over that step up. Copy that.
I'm gonna get my Roger again, you know that.
I don't think Henry's ever driven. Didn't he say basically he's never been off the road?
Yeah.
She, the other Greg, already gone.
Is that our 30 or is that the regular Broncos?
No, I don't know.
That's the regular Broncos. We're coming down this valley.
They don't
Take
get
a
to do
picture of
this.
that.
What are you doing?
I don't care.
Look at us. How sweet are we?
We're good. We're good. This may slide a little bit to your side when we get down in here.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
And Jeremy, you can start making your way on down that hill. We're okay. Just be slow. Take your time.
Stay high.
Now a little bit to the passenger on the wheel there, Jeremy. There we go. Now as you're up and using that driver hand side lock. There you go. It's not sliding as much. It's controlled it down that defense.
So did I do that slide? Hell, barely.
You can ask him. It's not bad.
Perfect, Jeremy. Just kind of stay right there, okay?
Roger.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
I mean, you should ask him that question. That way it would be good information for later.
Yeah. So is it bad that I was sliding a little bit, or? Normally they come down more passenger on that because you can see in the bottom of it, it's more of a turn. But I guess because it's wet there.
Must have been some heavy dew last night.
there were huge drops of water on the car.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's a lot of.
I don't think it rained, but maybe.
The good news of being last is if I have to, I can put it in park and pee real quick.
Okay.
You're at 5 degrees this way and 11 degrees that way.
All right, Henry, right before you start making that left-hand turn, that's the staging area is perfect, nicely done. Just one more vehicle, we'll get ready to go for the next step.
You're going to control that descent coming down with the front end, okay? Coming on up, easy. Beauty.
A little kiss.
Kiss, yeah, that's what we want to feel and hear.
So the slide back there, was that bad or good?
No, that's
okay?
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, like you were hugging it a little bit too tight. So once you start straightening out, you can see it kind of went down.
It went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, just
Yeah.
trying to see if it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to kind of experiment.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's her life, so.
Yeah, she's fine. She's tough. She's pretty tough.
All right, come on up, and then once that rear end kind of gets on top of that peak of the rock, I'll go ahead and get you in front for that step down.
Okay.
Actually, this is the rock waterfall step down. Right there is good.
Okay.
Miss a hair, a little bit more. Miss a tree, that's good. Looking good in the back end. Let's start going back a little more straight with the wheels. I'm going to use that path. I'm going to step it down with the rock waterfall. You're going to drop quite a bit of that passenger front, or not passenger, the driver's side front, and then the passenger front. So keep going up. Control that descent right here. There we go.
Hey.
Back to some driver. And we'll follow that 2-track on down behind the orange.
Perfect. No. There it goes.
It didn't seem like he did. Why would he not?
This dude's sliding on, giving it the business, coming up that hill, which is what those guys didn't do. So they didn't make it.
Step down for the doing that. But the big thing after that is going to how late the turn in is the right hand up the next part of the hill. So we'll navigate the step down and then make that later turn in later descent.
I have no idea. It's hard. Yeah, thank you. It's hard to understand him.
passenger.
Reverse is free. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be going.
I think I need to kind of snake in,
Mm-hmm. He gave me a thumbs up. Keep it straight.
Now for this next section, we do want to integrate some of the technology with you folks. So, look at your transfer case dial in the center. Hit that Bronco button in the center. Now look at your driver display. It should have trail, one pedal drive active. Once that says trail, one pedal drive active, just imagine if that wheel was at 9 and 3 in usual versus having some type of steering radius. But if you have that set plus, 4, cruise control. Hit set plus. Once you hit set plus, look at your driver display. If it says trail control active, that is what we want to go on the downhill. Now we do have a little bit of articulation that's going to be coming on up, but having you folks in trail control 1 mile an hour, perfect. But what we also notice is that if we look at our gear indicator, which is going to be on our driver display, number 2 is going to be registered in white, it looks like, on the tachometer and stuff like that. Let's pull our shifter lever back to manual mode. When we go back to manual mode, if it's that 9 and 3 hand positioning with that steering wheel, we want to go downshifting it to first gear. Manual mode first gear, trail control 1 mile an hour. That is what we want. Obviously rock crawl and everything else. Now at this time, I'll go ahead and try to get everyone through this little bit of section down for, we call this one Oh My Bob, because Bob is our course builder. And this hill has 2 passenger side hits, and it's going to be roughly about 30 degrees of decline angle. So this is why we're going to allow trail control to keep it at that 1 mile an hour in manual mode in first gear.
Oh Lord, I thought that was Henry going.
No, Henry Thanks for coming with me.
Thanks for inviting me. It's the sunglasses. Thanks for those, by the way. It's fantastic. I gotta find my other pair.
Just don't lose them. They look good on you.
You like 'em?
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, because this is the thing where you, like, no pedal,
No pedal.
unless you want to stop.
I should have done that on that rocked up step the other day at home. That's what I should have done. Them boys would have been crap themselves.
And Henry, go up just a little bit more. We'll have you stop right there. Perfect. Keep it right there. I'll go over some additionals later on.
Kiss that tire. Yes. First is free.
There you go.
I'm trying to get there.
Okay.
That looks pretty good. Right there. A little bit more. Right there. Yep. Alright, looking good.
Are you screaming at me?
I thought I was in pretty good shape.
Sound like that.
All right, folks.
Yeah.
So next up, like I said, we got the hill. You good?
I'm not gonna go on this route.
Is it 100?
Oh, yeah.
So not on the outside. No. You'll just see.
Now,
Is that what you said?
yeah.
So then we got everything in that trail control, 1 mile an hour manual first gear. You're going to allow the vehicle to do the work. Now, with that being said, you can always hover over that brake pedal. On the way down, we're going to be having an S turn. Left turn into a right turn. Once you meet the right turn, just make sure that there's going to be enough gap for 3 cars down there in that right-hand turn. I'll hop on back in with you there, Henry. We'll make the rest of the way on down. This point there, let's go ahead and turn to the passenger side. Come off your brake. Allow the vehicle to do the job.
I mean, you've already told you where to be.
A little bit more passenger.
I I ain't scared.
More passenger. Back to straight now. You can see where the 2-track is going to be putting you, okay?
I think we want to go over that rock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying.
Yeah, with your tire. With your front one or your back one?
Both. We're at a 9-degree slope right here. Forward and back. 5 degrees to me.
Mm-hmm. We're about to be at 30.
That's what he said.
Keep it straight. Hard driver now.
Think
Hard
about,
driver.
think about this
It's gonna slide
valley
left
we're
there.
about to come down. I mean, basically we're coming down the valley.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony is going to help you kind of get the back half of the vehicle around.
Who's Anthony?
Picture of it.
I don't know.
Go back to some passenger.
Didn't control that well.
You didn't?
Fell off too fast.
Is this the wheel?
I think it's right. Can you see?
The guy? Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, jeez. I'm in manual. Yep.
Just a little bit passenger. There we go. Straight down, straight with the wheel, straight with the wheel, straight with the wheel, straight with the wheel, straight with the wheel. Beauty. Anthony's got you from here. Come on down. There we go. You got a nice berm on your outside tire. That's it. Put it down here just a second. Now bring it right back to you. That's it. One more time. Use that weight so you control it. That's it. Now back up. There you go. You just kind of shifting the weight around abruptly so you
Perfect.
can get a little more grip on the front end.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna get back in there. So? Sweet.
Nice work.
You know, don't see Jesus too much as it starts to fall back.
So, folks, what we can do next at this time, let's go ahead, since we're all single stop, go ahead and put the vehicles into neutral. We are going to be switching over to a different mode selection. So go to your gut mode dial, switch that over 2 times to your left. You're going to see off-road mode eventually. Off-road is going to put you back in the 4-wheel drive high. That's what we can use on the way down. As we're going to be riding the brakes a little bit until it starts getting a little bit more flat. Once you do that, you see off-road 4 high. The rear differential locker is going to be locked. Once we get to the lower end side, we'll go ahead and disengage that eventually. But 4-wheel drive high, off-road, I'll go ahead and hop on in with Henry, and we'll get ready to go.
I would have left it rock crawl probably till I got to the bottom.
Why is that flashing?
Because I got my foot on the brake. It's a hill descent is all.
Oh.
And good.
Wait, what? Riding the brake.
And then folks, for you guys can also use that Bronco button in the center to disengage that trail control. And one pedal drive.
Dude, he did some rock in there. Did you see that?
Yeah, he fell into that hole. Because we're in high now. You don't have this.
Yeah.
Was this where they were up here working this morning with that skid steer? I think so. It was, yeah, it was over here.
What were they doing? I wonder.
Fixing something.
That felt pretty good. By the way,
I'm trying to do better for you.
well, I mean, I'm saying. I mean, I haven't felt bad the whole time, but I'm just saying that felt. Yeah, there's a skid steer right there.
I heard it beeping, that's why I said that. Oh, I should have been watching the gauges.
Oh, to see what the.
Trying to get my sucker on my butt let loose enough I could see over the
Were you puckered?
a little bit.
Big rock.
Now, as we start making our way up the wash back to where we initially came from previously, which is like that parking lot, it'll be just fine as we start going up to our Raptor Lodge. We got lunch with you folks.
1/3?
I guess this was our amount to go see something other.
Experience.
This was at 11:30. Dude, it's already 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. They must have some horses and burros up here.
Yeah, I've seen.
Hogs. Oh, going in front of them. Yeah, what we just did was only, he said, Raptor only. The regular Broncos don't get to come up here.
Alright, nicely done there, folks. What we're going to be doing is that we're back to our no wait policy. About 10 miles an hour is going to be just fine as we kind of get up to
No
our
wait
blocks. We're
policy.
going to be parking around the building in a clockwise fashion.
That means we ain't got to walk back up there.
Yep.
Yeah. He didn't say not to. So what they should do is take you back through this course, this way, and let you drive up that way, and then out.
That would be pretty cool.
And then everybody gets to
Mm-hmm.
touch it, basically.
Folks, we're making a right-hand turn to go around the launch area.
In off-road mode, it'll hold the gears longer.
And what we'll do now, folks, is that as we make our way around the building, we will be doing that parking brake procedure as we get our vehicles come to a stop and then ready to go inside. So as a reminder with that parking brake procedure,
Neutral. I guess that's where they have to
we'll just have enough gap so we can actually open that rear tailgate in between the vehicles. It'll be just fine. Parking brake procedure will go as follows. Put the vehicle into neutral first. Once we get to neutral, go ahead and engage that parking brake above that left knee. Once we see brake above that park reverse neutral drive, that is when we can go ahead and release the brake and then put the vehicle in the park.
No, it's different.
And then
Pull
from
up
that
on
point
it.